Welcome everybody to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it, like we were evolved to do. Welcome back to Berry Week. We are now right at the summer solstice when I'm filming this video, and right in the middle of the season of many of the berries. Today we are speaking about raspberries, one of the primary berries that you will find in most of the grocery stores in the world near you, but it's actually in season for a very short time actually, and has a very interesting history. Raspberries begin fruiting in the early summer, and the season only lasts about 4 to 5 weeks when left natural and untouched. Depending on the climate, it could be a little bit longer. Now, raspberries are native, and it actually grows best in the cooler northern areas of Europe. And this is necessary because it needs to get quite cool for these to get the proper bud break, as it's called. So it is very much a fruit of the colder regions and needs the cold to be born almost, whereas other fruits would die in that temperature and they would never survive. So what they did with raspberries is, over the years, these grew in the early season in the north of Europe, and then they actually would dig them up, roots and all and everything, and replant them in the south of Europe. They still do this today actually, and it's, to an extent, it's to get the maximum growing season out of it. That's why we find so many of these fresh raspberries in the stores for very long periods of years. So they need the cold to be born, but then once you bring them out to the sun, they can have a very long season, which is most of the berries that we get today. But in reality, our ancient ancestors would have only been eating raspberries for a little more than a month out of the year, and then of course drying it or jamming it to be preserved in the winter, whatever they had left. Although we don't have historical records of raspberries going back in our history very far, of course it would have been in our ancestors' diets in very, very ancient times, or at least something in the family of the raspberry, and that would have been a major part of the human diet, hunter-gatherer diet, for the longest periods of time. One other great thing about raspberries throughout history is that they grow very fast and they spread, even to the point where they are considered an invasive species sometimes. And this happens so much that what is believed is that the Romans and the Greeks of ancient times had it native there, but then they took it on their travels and then it spread like wildfire. But we think it was originated in ancient Greece and Rome. I don't know about that. I mean, it was a bit colder during those times in the past, so it could be native to parts of Greece and Rome originally, but it is a cold weather mountainy fruit, so that makes it perfect for the northern European ancestral diet too, and definitely something that our ancestors would have had access to for many thousands of years. Of course, if we tried to duplicate that diet, we would just be eating it fresh for another month or so, maybe from June, July, and preferably eat it wild if you are able to find those somewhere. And this is, of course, a time that we would also be picking those berries and preserving them in jams or syrups and eating like that the rest of the year too. That's how raspberries would have been naturally eaten seasonally.